Alright, what is up YouTube? We are back with another video. In my previous video, which was showing y'all this camera, I asked y'all to flood the comments with suggestions on the next video idea. And I got 3 comments about the same general thing, and it was how to mix. So I got a question asking how to mix tracks by Eloy White. I got a question about audio effects by Reese Ritchie. And I got a suggestion about automation from Mars Moon. So I'm super excited. I'm going to show y'all how I kind of mix one of my songs, Orange House 1, which is, I'll give y'all the link if y'all want to check it out. It's a song where I recorded me playing the guitar. I can't play the guitar that well, but I was just strumming a few notes on the guitar, and I played some bass on this guy and a little bit of bells on that too. This video is the instruments on that song, and then the next video will be the drums on that song. So let's hop right into this, guys. So this main track right here is me just strumming the acoustic. And if you can tell, I have the metronome in the background. I just added it to add a little bit of flair. So the next track we'll be looking at is the same thing as this track, but I pitched it up 12 semitones up. So it's a bit higher. These 2 tracks right here are just me playing around with the keyboard, just a little flair. And then last but not least is the bass. Alright guys, so let's hop right in. Let's work on our first guitar track. So first time hearing it, let's just throw in some reverb. So reverb is going to give your instruments some space. It's going to throw your instrument in middle of a stadium. It's going to throw your instrument in middle of a small room, in middle of the forest. It's just going to add some air to your track. So you can either just drag the reverb in, or Ableton has presets available. So my favorite preset, and y'all know this about me, is oil barrel. So we're going to throw oil barrel in here, okay? So first time you throw it in there, look at all these knobs and twisties and all these things going crazy. You don't know what to do. So the things that I mess with is going to be your dry wet scale, your decay time, and then this little EQ8 up here, which is going to show you where you want your decay to be landing. So at 100%, this is what our guitar will sound like. That's not what we want. So we're going to bring it down to, let's say, 26. We're going to bring the decay time down just a bit. And then I want the reverb to be hitting on the highs. So I'm going to bring that over here a little bit. I'm going to press it on my low. So I have another knob, and I'm going to bring this guy right here. So now let's give this a listen. Let's bring it up maybe just a little bit more. Alright, sweet. So audio effects work like this. You have your raw audio. The audio is going to go through your first audio effect. As it's going through, it's going to go crazy all up in here. It's going to get all reverbed, or whatever your first audio effect is. And then it's going to go into the next audio effect. So your audio effects work left to right. The next audio effect that I'm going to be using is going to be a chorus. Chorus adds multiple voices to your track. So I could either throw it right here, and if I threw it right here, what's going to happen is you're going to get all these voices, and then the reverb's going to hit. So it's going to sound super airy. But if I throw the chorus after the reverb, it's going to be more chorusy and less reverby. It's not that noticeable, but it's the small things that help your mix sound better. So we have amount and we have rate. So the amount is going to tell you how much chorus you want, and then the rate is going to be telling you how fast you want all the voices to be going. So this is what it sounds like with it all the way. Not going to sound the best. See, we don't want that. We want it about right here, and that's still a little bit too much. Let's bring it down a bit. Alright, so now it's time for EQ. So if you have Ableton Live 9 Lite, then you have EQ 3. If you have Ableton Live 9 Standard or anything higher, then you have EQ 8. So these two are the exact same things. EQ 3 is EQ, but you have 3 knobs to adjust with. EQ 8 is EQ, but you have 8 knobs to adjust with. So basically this EQ 3 is this EQ 8, but minus one of them. Okay? So that's basically what we're working with when we have EQ 3. So after listening to this guitar, I want to take out some lows. So this box right here is going to show you where all the audio is going to be, frequency-wise. So watch this. As this guitar plays, I'm going to bring some lows down, and it's going to show you bringing the lows down over here. So let's play it. See that? Now we don't have lows in this. Now let's bring down the highs. Now we just have the mids. So I want some of the lows, and then I want most of the highs, but not all of them. So that's what I would do if I was using the EQ 3. But with the EQ 8, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm just going to bring down some of those lows, and then bring down some of those highs. And there's so much more with EQ 8. There's stereo, left, right, and then mid-side, but that's going to be in a whole nother video if I want to make a video specifically about EQ 8. Alright, and then just for a safety measure, I like to top off all of my audio effects with a limiter. So let's say this is the audio, and then the limiter is going to have a threshold right here. So what the limiter is going to do, if your audio comes up and it comes above the threshold is going to bring it down. So nothing is going to go above the threshold on the limiter. So obviously none of this audio is going to be above the threshold, but I throw a limiter on all my tracks, so I'm just going to throw it on there. Alright, moving on to our high pluck. So let's give a listen to our high pluck. So after listening to this track, I have two things that I definitely want to do, and one is add a bunch of chorus to make it sound more like a steel guitar, electric guitar than an acoustic. And then the second thing is going to be using EQ to make this audio mostly highs, taking a bunch of lows out. So let's do the chorus first. Let's throw on our chorus. And unlike the first guitar, we're going to use a lot of chorus. Alright, there we go. And then let's go down to reverb. Let's throw in just a regular reverb, because I usually throw on oil barrel if I have a track that's going to be profound on the mids, but this is going to be more on the highs, so we're just going to throw in a regular reverb. And then we want it to be the lows. There we go. Let's take out that chorus because we have a chorus right here. Alright, there we go. Now time for our EQ. Let's throw on the EQ 8. You can do everything that I'm doing on the EQ 3. Alright, that's sounding good. Let's throw on a limiter. Now let's give a play with the main and the high together. Alright, let's take out some of these highs on the main. So a lot of mixing is knowing where to put your levels on tracks compared to other tracks, because if you have a bunch of tracks on the same frequency EQ-wise or a bunch of tracks with high reverb, then your track's going to sound super muddy. So let's move on to our next instrument, which is going to be our piano. Alright, upon listening to it, I want a lot of reverb, and I want the EQ to be on the highs. I want to cut out some of those lows. So let's throw on a reverb. A good reverb that I like to use for instruments that I want to have a high frequency with is the forest floor, so let's throw that in. Let's take out that high cut and let's throw in a low cut. So the next thing that I want to do is add a ping pong delay. Basically what the ping pong delay is going to do is it's going to cut the audio in half. One audio is going to be your main, and it's going to be right here. It's going to be in between both your ears. And then the next one is going to be on your left side and your right side, and it's going to delay the track, and it's going to be having the audio bounce off left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. That probably didn't make any sense, so let's just throw it in and have y'all listen to it. You hear that? This right here is going to tell you where the delay is going to be happening. I don't want it to be on the lows because I want to be focusing on the highs. So let's move it mostly to the highs. And then let's bring it down, because if you have too much ping pong delay, then it's going to take out some of the sound on your main audio. Alright, I like that a lot. Let's throw in our EQ8. And let's drag this way. There we go. If you have EQ3, let's do the exact same thing. Just like that, and then let's throw that limiter on there. Alright, so I just realized that I want some ping pong delay on my high pluck. Alright, so I can either grab my ping pong delay and move it over here, or since this ping pong delay has the same parameters basically that I want on this high pluck, I can hold down Control and drag it over to my high pluck. And then let's put it after the chorus and before the EQ. Now let's listen to the high pluck. Let's add a little bit more maybe. Yeah, that's nice. Alright, so let's listen to our next little piano. The reverb's good, but I maybe just want a little bit more, and I want it to be focusing kind of on the mid-highs. So let's throw in a reverb. Let's adjust this right about here, and then let's throw on an EQ8 right here and right here probably. And then let's throw on that limiter. Let's give it a listen. Alright, this is sounding great so far. Let's move on to our bass. So, bass is something that's going to rely really heavily upon audio effects. So, right now, the bass is lacking some punch, some slap. So, the first thing that I'm going to throw on is just going to be a regular compressor. And we're going to use this compressor to bring out our output. So, give it a listen. I want a little bit more punch. See, and this is when we're going to need to use our limiter because the audio is going above our threshold. See that red? We don't want red, but let's not worry about that right now. Actually, let's worry about that right now. Let's throw on a limiter. See, now it's not clipping anymore. Alright, so the next thing that we're going to do to this bass is add overdrive. So overdrive is going to be... it's just going to add so much power to our bass. So let's throw that on here after the compressor. And we want the overdrive to be affecting the lows because that's where our bass is going to be. So let's bring it over here. Let's give it a listen. That's too powerful and it's too loud on the highs, so we're going to bring the tone down and the drive down. Alright, that's sounding good. Last thing is to throw on another EQ. So let's throw this on here. Let's bring out those highs. If we have the bass to have highs on it, and we have all these other instruments on the highs, then it's just going to make the track super muddy, and we don't want that. We just want the bass to be on the lows, and then the other instruments to be on the highs. So let's bring this down. And then we want a little bit more punch on that low, so we're going to bring it up a bit. There we go. So audio effects is all about experimenting. So I'm going to throw on some chorus on my bass, which is just not what you're supposed to do. I wouldn't do this, but I'm just going to do it because I think it sounds good. And since the chorus is taking away some of our overdrive, let's add in a little bit of our overdrive. Alright, so Mars Moon asked about automation, and I might make a whole video about automation and automation tricks, but right now I'm going to show y'all how to use automation to your advantage. So let's arrange these tracks so we can use automation on them. So I want main guitar going on throughout, I want the high pluck to come in with some of this glass piano, and then the Electra is going to come in when the bass comes in. So let's grab these two and then duplicate those out, Control D. All right, so automation is right here. And right now what I'm affecting is ping pong delay, the feedback on the ping pong delay. So I'm going to do Control Z, take those both out. So I want the guitar to be coming in, and then once it hits right here, you're going to hear a little bit of the bells and the high pluck slowly, gradually come in. So let's go right here. Let's go on our mixer, and our mixer is just going to be adjusting the main things, and one of them is going to be volume. So I want the full volume to affect right here on the next bar. So we're going to click right here, and then I want it to start down here. So we're going to start right here, and as we're going, the audio is going to slowly come up. So let's do the same thing on this guy. Let's go on the mixer. Let's get the track volume. Let's zoom in. Let's go right here, and then right here. And then another thing that I do as I gradually bring an instrument in is I have a bunch of reverb at the start, and then it slowly comes down. So we're going to go over here. We're going to click on a reverb, which is reverb. And then this is the dry wet, and we want the dry wet. So we want it to be at 54 once the next bar comes in, and we want it to start at 100. Let's do the same thing with these bells. Let's go to our forest floor, and we don't want the diffuse level, we want the dry wet. So click on your dry wet, and then boom, and then we want it to be right here. So another thing that we can do, instead of doing volume like this where we're gradually going in, we can do fades. So a way to do fades is to right click on your track, do show fades, and then we're gonna bring the fades in like this. See that? That's basically doing what I just did on the volume, on the automation. So that's just slowly fading in. And the fades are good because instead of like a direct line like that, it's going like whoosh, like that. All right, so before I play the song, I'm actually gonna, let's take out this, and then let's bring this over here. Let's bring in the loop right there. And before I play the song, once we have all these instruments in, there's gonna be a lot of clipping, and the audio is gonna be going insane above our threshold, so you know what we need to do. We need to throw in a limiter. But even with a limiter on all these tracks, it's still gonna be clipping the master. So we need to double click the master, and we need to throw in our limiter. So a good way to add audio, if your track is leaking some volume, a good way to add it is to bring up your gain, and no matter how high you bring up your gain, it's never going to clip. But that's not how I usually add audio to my tracks. The way I do it is I'll throw in a glue compressor, and without messing with the threshold, I'm going to bring up the makeup, and the makeup is going to add some volume to our track. Alright guys, so before we play this, big shouts out to Reese, Eloy, and Mars Moon. Thank you for the wonderful suggestions. So yeah, check out Orange House 1. I'm probably going to make an Orange House 2, Orange House 3, and they're all going to sound really cool like this, so you better go check that out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're almost at 1K, guys. Go down in the comments and comment a new video that y'all want me to do. My next video will probably be the drums on this, but after that, I'll do whatever comment that y'all want on this video. Hit the notifications on my account so you get a little notification. It's like, hey, xole made a new video on mixing drums. So yeah, let's give this a quick listen. Alright guys, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Peace.
Sir, you have no call to get snippy with me. I'm just doing my job here. I'm not arguing. I'm cooperating.
someone. Say you want someone. Said you want someone.
Say you want someone. I think I got mixed personalities. This bitch switched up my whole mentality. This girl, she got mixed personalities. One day she's happy, then she mad at me.